Talk of an expat exodus from Thailand swirled through online forums and social media feeds, all through 2025. The narrative was powerful, painting a picture of foreigners packing their bags in droves, driven away by new rules and shifting realities. But like many stories that gain traction, the truth is far more complex than a simple headline. The question of whether expats are truly leaving Thailand is not a straightforward one. The answer isn't a simple yes or no. It's a story of different groups of people with different motivations making different choices based on their unique circumstances. Some definitely left, and their reasons were clear and compelling. Yet, at the same time, a significant number of foreigners remained, and many new ones arrived, drawn by the same allure that has made Thailand a top destination for decades. We will examine the core reasons, from strict new visa enforcement to financial pressures that made life unsustainable for some. We will also explore the sudden and massive departure of nearly 1 million Cambodian migrant workers, a dramatic event driven by fear and instability. However, it's just as important to look at the other side of the coin. We will consider the data that suggests the overall expat community not only remained stable, but actually grew. By looking at all these pieces together, we can move beyond the simple exodus narrative and understand the more nuanced reality of who left, who stayed, and why. The story of 2025 is not one of a sinking ship, but rather of a changing tide. To get a full picture, we must look at the facts and the feelings behind them. Statistics and official announcements tell part of the story, but the personal accounts of teachers struggling with low pay or digital nomads frustrated by visa rules add a crucial human element. The situation in Thailand in 2025 presented a curious contradiction. It was a place that was simultaneously tightening its grip on some foreigners while continuing to welcome others with open arms. It was a country where some saw their dream ending, while others were just beginning theirs. Understanding this duality is key to understanding what really happened. It was a year of significant change, not a mass departure. And these changes set the stage for a new chapter in the long and complicated relationship between Thailand and its foreign residents. This exploration will be broken down into the key factors that shaped the year. We will start with the most talked about issue. One of the most significant drivers behind the expat exodus narrative was a major shift in immigration policy. For years, many foreigners had sustained a long-term presence in Thailand by using a method known as a visa run. This involved taking a short trip across a land border or a quick flight to a neighboring country, then re-entering Thailand a day or two later, refreshing their 30-day visa exemption stamp. It was a well-worn path for digital nomads, retirees on a budget, others in a gray residency area. In 2025, the Thai Immigration Bureau put a definitive end to the practice. The government said the visa exemption was for genuine tourists, not de facto residents. It changed everything for thousands. New enforcement measures took effect on November 12, 2025, and they were direct. Immigration officers were told to scrutinize arrival travel patterns. Multiple back-to-back entries without returning home or without a proper long-term visa would get you flagged. Official reports show about 2,900 foreigners denied entry in 2025. The message, the era of living in Thailand on tourist stamps, was over. People faced a hard choice: get a legitimate, often expensive long-term visa or leave. New rules were formalized. Travelers from 93 visa-exempt countries were limited to 2 entries per calendar year. A third entry without a valid pre-approved visa likely means being turned away. The visa run model was effectively dismantled. For those renewing every 30 or 90 days, this was a direct barrier. The abrupt change left many scrambling. Some found long-term options, like the elite visa or business visas, were too costly or hard to get. The impact hit a specific segment hardest: not retirees with formal retirement visas, nor professionals with company-sponsored permits. It hit freelancers, online workers, long-stay budget travelers, in-betweeners, left without a viable way to stay. For 5 years, Thailand was my home base. The visa run was a hassle, but it worked. Now I'm told I'm not welcome unless I pay thousands for a special visa. It's heartbreaking, but I have to move on. This echoed across online communities. A whole class of long-term residents had their loophole closed. Beyond the tightening grip of immigration, another powerful force was pushing some expats out: simple economics. Bangkok is often sold as a low-cost paradise, but the reality in major cities like Bangkok can be very different. Cost of living has been steadily rising, while salaries in popular expat professions, especially English teachers, have largely stagnated. That gap became a breaking point in 2025. The dream of a comfortable life in the land of smiles was becoming financially unsustainable, forcing people to look for better pay abroad. Paradise fades fast when you're constantly checking your bank balance. For many foreign teachers, the math just didn't add up. One former Bangkok teacher explained,
"The main reason was financial, really. I'd underestimated how expensive Bangkok would be, and overestimated how far a teacher's salary would stretch."
This wasn't unique. Many came expecting to save while living vibrantly, but ended up dipping into savings to cover monthly costs like rent, utilities, socializing. After a year or two of that drain, leaving stops being a choice. It wasn't that they disliked Thailand, they simply couldn't afford to stay. Opportunities elsewhere made the decision easier. The global market for skilled professionals is competitive. Nearby Asian countries and Middle Eastern nations began offering much better compensation. One relocated teacher said,
"I earn triple what I did in Thailand for the same work. And in addition, I get housing allowance, paid holidays, and even free flights home every year."
A dramatic pay and benefits boost makes loyalty waver. The chance to live comfortably and build real savings pulled talent away. This was a different, quieter exodus than the visa-driven one. Families and individuals with legal permits and integration still left because the system no longer worked financially. Schools relying on foreign teachers felt the ripple. Experienced educators replaced by a stream of new, less experienced arrivals who hadn't yet faced long-term financial realities. The dream remained, but for more people, the price tag was too high. While visa rules prompted a steady trickle of departures and financial woes added pressure, a far more dramatic and sudden exodus occurred in the summer of 2025. This event involved not Western expats, but a massive population of Cambodian migrant workers. They formed the backbone of many Thai industries. In just over 2 weeks after a Thai incursion on July 24, 2025, an astonishing 900,000 Cambodian workers fled back across the border. This was not a calculated departure. It was a mass flight driven by immediate, palpable fear. The incident exposed deep vulnerabilities of migrant laborers. Despite their essential role, they often live on the margins. The exodus reacted to a spike in violence and intimidation. The July 24th incursion acted as a catalyst, instantly magnifying migrant precarity across Thailand. Reports surged of harassment and threats. Public spaces once neutral became zones of danger. Workers felt unsafe even at home. This was not a slow bureaucratic change, it was an explosion of fear. The mass departure was a breaking point, the culmination of years of systemic exploitation and neglect. Workers chose the uncertainty of returning home over immediate danger in Thailand. This highlights a stark distinction in reasons for leaving. A Western digital nomad and an English teacher might leave for different reasons, but migrant construction and factory workers faced life or death choices. They weren't leaving for visas or higher pay. They were fleeing threats to personal safety. Their departure reveals a multi-tiered foreign community. While some debated visas in coffee shops, hundreds of thousands carried what they could and left. The economic hole hit construction hard. The economic hole hit agriculture hard. The economic hole hit fishing hard. The human story is deeper. Nearly 1 million people fleeing in weeks is a humanitarian crisis. It showed how geopolitical tensions can quickly harm the most vulnerable. Separate from the Western expat story, this was the largest foreign departure from Thailand in 2025 by numbers. It paints a stark picture of different realities in the kingdom. Contradicting the entire narrative of a mass exodus, a significant body of evidence suggests the expat community in Thailand was not shrinking, but was in fact stable and even growing in 2025. While some were leaving, many were staying, and new arrivals continued to flow in. This side of the story is crucial for a balanced perspective. It shows Thailand's appeal remained incredibly strong for many foreigners. The data on expat satisfaction and population paints a picture almost opposite the doom-laden forum posts. For every person who decided to leave, there were others happily settled or eagerly arriving. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence is the high level of happiness reported by expats. A 2025 survey revealed that 86% of expats in Thailand reported being happy with their life, a figure that towers above the global average of just 72%. This statistic suggests the day-to-day experience for the majority was overwhelmingly positive. They continued to enjoy the famous Thai hospitality, the world-renowned cuisine, the warm climate, and a quality of life they felt was superior to home. Furthermore, population metrics did not indicate a decline. Some reports estimated Thailand's foreign resident community grew to approximately 2 million in 2025. By some counts, Bangkok actually had more expats in 2025 than in 2024. This growth can be attributed to several factors. Thailand continued to be a top destination for retirees, often with stable, long-term visas. It also attracted a new wave of professionals and entrepreneurs drawn to its strategic location and recovering economy. The country's magnetic pull had not diminished. It was attracting a different mix of people. This data forces us to reconsider the exodus question. The story of 2025 looked less like net departure and more like demographic churn. Certain types of expats, particularly those reliant on visa runs, were pushed out by new policies. Others, like Cambodian migrants, fled due to a specific crisis. However, these departures were offset by new arrivals and a large content base of long-term residents who were unaffected. The people leaving were highly visible and vocal online, creating the perception of a mass departure. But the quiet, happy majority who stayed and the new faces who arrived tell a different and perhaps more accurate story. A major source of frustration and confusion for the foreign community in 2025 was the perception of uneven and contradictory immigration enforcement. By the end of the year, Thailand presented what one publication called a curious contradiction. The country appeared to be tightening its grip on some types of foreigners, while seemingly turning a blind eye to others. This inconsistency led to accusations of unfairness and raised questions about the true goals of the government's immigration policies. Why were certain individuals and activities scrutinized so heavily while others, which looked like bigger violations, were allowed to continue untouched? This arbitrary enforcement fueled instability for many expats. The most common comparison was between the digital nomad and the undocumented laborer. A foreigner quietly answering emails on a laptop in a cafe generating revenue for overseas clients could be flagged and questioned for working without a work permit. Their crime was using a tourist visa for activities that weren't strictly tourism. At the same time, construction. At the same time, manufacturing large operations known to employ undocumented physical laborers often seemed to operate with impunity. This created a sense of injustice. As one critique pointed out, TDAC flags a retiree for one visa run too many, while factory floors filled with undocumented labor remain invisible. It felt less like consistent rule of law and more like targeting easy, visible individuals. This unevenness created an environment of uncertainty. The rules were on the books, but nobody was sure how they would be applied, when they would be applied, or to whom they would be applied. A retiree doing a visa run might be denied entry, while another in the exact same situation might be waved through with a smile. This unpredictability is unsettling for anyone trying to build a stable life in a foreign country. People prefer clear, consistent rules that apply to everyone equally. Uneven scale. One person on a laptop versus a large factory with many workers. When enforcement seems random or targeted, it erodes trust and makes long-term planning impossible. The ground could shift beneath your feet. For some, a reason to consider moving to a country with clearer, predictable rules. Ultimately, the crackdown seemed less about stopping all unauthorized work or unauthorized residency, and more about managing perceptions and targeting specific, easily identifiable groups. The digital nomad is a visible, simple target. The complex web supporting large-scale undocumented labor is far more difficult and sensitive to tackle. Letter of the law applied to some, while the spirit of the law was ignored for others. For the foreign community, this inconsistency was a major source of stress and central to the debate about whether Thailand was still a welcoming place to call home. In summary, the story of foreigners leaving Thailand in 2025 is not a single, straightforward narrative of a mass exodus. Instead, it is a complex tapestry woven from several distinct threads. The government's decisive crackdown on visa runs, and the introduction of a 2-entry-per-year limit effectively closed the door on those who relied on that method. Separately, financial pressures pushed another group away. Rising cost of living drove many decisions. Stagnant salaries in professions like teaching made things worse. The most dramatic departure was the sudden flight of nearly 1 million Cambodian migrant workers. But survey data and population metrics showed a large, happy, even growing community.